The Gopher Coaches Show is presented by Window Concepts and Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union.
How's our top down here? Elite, man, that's what it is.
This is the Gopher Coaches Show.
Welcome into the Gopher Coaches Show. I'm your host, Ahmad Hicks, alongside KFAN's Gaard and women's head basketball coach, Dawn Plitzuweit. So it's been a while, Dawn, since we've sat down on this set to talk about your team in that time frame. You guys currently have a 4-game winning streak right now, so we'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. But first, I want to get your thoughts on the most recent game versus Purdue, a 33-point win at home for you all.
Well, first of all, I thought the crowd was great. So if you haven't been out to a game yet, time to get some tickets, time to come out pretty soon. We're on the road this week, but then we come back home. But we played really well. I thought we played well on both ends of the court. It started with us on the defensive end, as it does, but then offensively we scored incredibly efficiently as well. So good, we're playing it at a high level, and we're going to need to do that certainly going on the road this week.
A player playing at a high level, we just saw her there, Tori McKinney. She comes back for the Oregon game after missing a couple. No coincidence, 4-game winning streak. I know she's a big piece of what you all are trying to do, but what's it been like to have her back in this mix? Well,
she's really, really important to us, obviously, on both ends of the court, because she picks the ball up, she makes a lot of plays defensively, gets through a lot of screens, rebounds, but then on the offensive end can push it up the court, can score it in a lot of different ways, and can space the floor and shoot it, but also a good passer. So she does an awful lot. Was that a lot?
5 assists, but that's her box score feels like a lot of your players' box score, where it's double-digit scoring, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, couple of block shots, the whole deal. She's really, I think, epitomizes what a lot of your players have.
Well, that's really important for us. We want to be an equal opportunity team. So depending on how teams are playing against us, you know, on the offensive end, we can move the ball, share the ball, and the player who has an opportunity on that day really needs to do a great job of taking advantage of it. And this team has been a team that understands that and is playing at a high level together.
Well, you talk about playing at a high level, current 4-game winning streak, that was after some tough losses. What has gotten into your club in this most recent stretch that has allowed them to flourish?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that this is a team that wants to continue to learn and continue to grow. And so from each game, whether the results are the ones that we want or the results aren't the ones that we want, I think this group has done a really good job of learning lessons and working to get better.
Defensively, you're always number 1 or number 2 in the country, it seems like the last couple of years, certainly this season. And you look at every team that comes in here, you go on the road, they might be averaging 70, you hold them to 50 or 55. What's been the secret to how effective you've been defensively this year?
Well, the first thing you have to have are players who want to defend. That's really important, because it's not something that's easy to do. And then you have to have a really good understanding, and certainly size, length, athleticism, finishing plays. All those things are really, really important. But the bottom line is our team really has to want to be good defensively.
You joked about that on Sunday, that you think your players want that to be your identity, but clearly they do if they are doing it to this level.
I believe so, yes, absolutely. And now they're at the stage where they can come to the timeouts and they are instructing each other, or you know, we can make a comment about that should have been a switch and we should have kept it out of the middle, and you know, someone will say, well, I did say it, but then I didn't do it. Okay, well then that's the next step. But at least they acknowledge and they understand, and now they can fix things during the course of the game on their own without there being a timeout.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, one thing that's been good to see this season is the new role of Grace Groholski. I feel like when she first got here, she was just a set shooter. Then you kind of challenged her to do more in her game last year. What have you seen from her now this season?
Well, I think she's doing a little bit of everything for us. I think she's someone who is really a very, very good defender. I think she's really grown her game on that side of the ball. But she's someone who handles it well, passes it well, shoots it really well. You know, she posts up for us. She comes off ball screens. So, like in year 1, she was a player that when the ball got passed to her, our post kids were instructed, don't go set a ball screen for her. Now it's go set a ball screen for her. So her game has continued to evolve, and that's really just a tribute to her and how good she really wants to be.
I remember being on this set in this building maybe about a year ago when it was announced that Sophie Hart was going to be able to come back for her extra year. She's obviously playing at a really high level. I want to talk about her Purdue game specifically in a minute, but just having her back, and obviously Finau Tonga as well, for your main post players, what have you seen from them in this stretch?
Well, I think Sophie as well is someone who really understands the game at a very high level. She asks incredible questions. She probably asks more questions than anyone in film. And so she understands what she needs to do. Then it's a matter of, okay, I didn't do that. Or, you know, she may get frustrated about a call, but then she's like, no, that was the right call. That was a foul. That was this. That was that. And so she understands, and I think that's the first part of it. You know, and then she is doing a really good job of establishing herself in the paint and making good decisions. And I think in the Purdue game, she had more assists than she probably had in her career. I don't know if she got credit for all of them, but she did such a great job of passing out of the post. You know, in other games, she's really scored it efficiently. She did that against Purdue. You know, so I think her ability to do more than one thing when she catches the ball on the block is really important for us.
Penn State, she had, I think, 4 or 5 assists as well. The guards were cutting off her very well when she got it in there. But I thought the Purdue game may have been the most active I've seen her in terms of she's diving on the floor for a loose ball. She had 3 blocks. She was ripping it by the 6'7" freshman who they were kind of like playing chess with you. When Sophie came out, freshman was going, she wanted nothing to do with it. But was that a pretty active game for her? It seemed like she really had a different level of energy almost.
Well, I think this is a really important time to have that different level of energy, and so I'm glad that she has that.
Coach, for you, Amaya Battle, it seems like she's a player that never lacks energy. Whenever I go watch her play, what have you seen her, where's the growth in her game this year compared to the most previous years that you've had her?
Well, I think right now, certainly in this 4-game stretch that we've played, you know, she's averaging 13 shots a game in the last 4 games. Prior to that, she was averaging 11 or 12 shots a game. So it's not as if she's really taking more shots, 1 or 2 a game, but really she's taking shots that are really good shots at that point in time within the offensive scheme and system, and she's scoring really, really efficiently. I think her field goal percentage defense over the last 4 games has gone up 25%. That's considerable. And so I think her understanding overall has really grown from the past. Right now we have her defending basically every position on the floor for the most part, and she's doing a great job of that, and she's rebounding at a really high level for us, and she's handling the ball for us. And so she's kind of like a little version of Magic Johnson. She's like a point forward, does a little bit of everything, handles the ball. She doesn't post up as much as he did, you know, but she's someone who defends inside. She's someone who defends on the perimeter. We can switch a ball screen with her, and then is back guarding a point guard. Well, she's done that for years. So I just think the growth of her game and how big of an impact she's making on the game has been just immense this year for us.
And on the rebounding, you've asked her to kind of up that a little bit from years past, right? And she said earlier, well, I used to be a great rebounder. I love rebounding. So that goes back to the want to, right, of a player being willing to do something that's maybe not glamorous, but how great is it to have somebody rebound and just be able to take it right up like she can? Well,
and that's where it's a really a major advantage for us to have Tori McKinney in the game or Briley Glenn, because in the past, Amaya was someone who would then start our defense. So she'd pick the ball up, or now she flies to the offensive glass. So, and she's hard to keep off the glass because she's so quick and so strong, and she's so long, and she jumps so well. So, you know, she's someone who, with this new role for her, she can impact the game at an even higher level.
Coach, we've talked about depth quite a few times this season. How do you think the depth on your team has allowed players to flourish in other areas?
Well, I think it's really important because it's given them opportunities to be in slightly different roles. You know, I think it's certainly something that ideally you can keep your players as fresh as possible. That's really, really important. And, you know, as we get into this, now we're into February, this is a really big stretch. It's a long, long season, you know, and so to keep your players not only game to game, but throughout the course of the season as fresh as possible is really, really crucial.
Is the depth something you've talked about, or we've probably talked about this before on the radio or on this show, that on any given night, you have someone who their career high is 25 or 30. You've got 4 or 5 of those players. So what's that like? How did they kind of figure out it can be any of our nights here? It's just as long as we win.
Well, that's a tribute to them. You know, I think we as coaches have tried to be intentional with orchestrating excellence, and sometimes within your orchestra you have a different symphonic piece that you're performing, and now it's time for a different instrument to have more of a significant role. But the reality is players have to take that, and players have to want to win more than anything else, and understand that whatever it takes for our team to be in as good a matchup as possible is what it takes. And so that's a tribute to our young ladies and their hunger to be really good as a group. And so it is an advantage that we have, though, because we don't have to go through one player to take a majority of our shots.
Coach, great teams are always player-led teams. When did you notice your players starting to take over and lead this program?
I would say that this team has done it from the summer. And I think of Mara, who I know is going to come on and join us in a little bit, but Mara's voice all summer was different than it's been. But I really noticed it in games, in the USC game. So now you fast forward to the middle of January at that point in time. In the middle of January, you could hear the players during the timeouts coaching each other, coaching themselves to a level that was different than we had done before.
Makes sense. Now, Coach, you kind of just took my job. You deep teased Mara right there that she's coming to join our set. So, look, now Coach had mentioned it. We have to bring Mara to set. So we're going to burn one of our TV timeouts. But when we return, Mrs. Braun will be here on set with us to talk about her season and everything Gophers related. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Gopher Coaches Show.
You heard Coach P. Welcome back to the Gopher Coaches Show. Ahmad, Hicks, Justin Gaard, Coach Plitzuweit, and Mara Braun joining the set with us for the first time this season. So, Mara, we appreciate it. Let's get your thoughts on the overall year you guys are having and how you guys are bouncing back from last year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I'm just happy to be back on the floor, just in any way that is. I'm just so thankful to be back and be healthy, and we're having a lot of fun. I think we have a lot of momentum right now, and the team's just having a really good time playing together.
Go ahead. Yeah, I noticed something the other day. You made an assist in the game versus Purdue. As soon as you made the assist, whoever made the bucket, you turned around with one of the biggest smiles I've seen from you. What has this season been like as far as like transitioning into a new role for yourself?
I think, honestly, my mindset every single night is just to make winning plays in whatever capacity that is, and everything else aside, you know, scoring, rebounding, defense, whatever it is, like I'm willing to do it for the team in order to win. I think everything I've been through these past few years, for me, the main thing is just being healthy and winning, and whatever that looks like. So, yeah, just pure joy, honestly. I love this team, this group, and we have so much fun together.
Can you speak to the fun and the chemistry a little bit more?
Yeah.
Because Ahmad mentioned the smile. Man, I just think about the Purdue game. You know, Amaya basically blows a tire on the way to the lane, gets it to you, you make a three, you're like laughing while you're shooting. Tori McKinney has an and one, does some kind of mean mug. You're giving her crap in the huddle. Like, it seems like, when did all that chemistry, you've all been together for a long time now, but just take us inside that chemistry, because it does look like you all just enjoy each other out there.
Yeah, I think we like to keep it light, but at the same time we know when to lock in and to get things done. So I think there's definitely a balance in that, and we found that. I think Tori, you don't see a lot of emotion come from her all the time, but we're able to bring it out of her, and I always try to get her to laugh and to lighten up a little bit, because it's fun out there. Like, I know what it's like to be on the sideline, and so I'm just trying to have as much fun as I can and just take advantage of the opportunity.
Coach P, what's it like challenging a player of Mara's caliber that's known for scoring a lot of points, contributing to everything offensively, to telling her to focus on other areas of her game where maybe she didn't focus on as much in years prior?
Well, that's a tribute to Mara. Again, she talks about she wants to do anything that it takes to win. And so when we watch film, I will say this, I think she looks like a bobblehead. You know, sometimes we're watching film, they'll say, this is Mara, you have to box out on this player. This is a possession we need to get on the floor. This is a possession we need to take a charge. And Mara's always agreeing, you know. Well, I shouldn't, maybe not always, but more often than not, Mara's agreeing. And so she's responded to that. You know, and you saw the clip of Mara getting some rebounds that are skying and being physical and making plays. You know, she's just growing her game. But I think it's really a tribute to how intentional she's been about her nutrition and her strength and recovery and everything else, because you can't do those things unless you take care of your body at a very, very high level.
All right, so make a three-pointer, or now that you're a rim protector, all of a sudden with 18 blocks, these block shots.
Take me in there.
So when did that become such an integral part of your game?
I don't know. I think, honestly, my favorite are on the three-pointers. Those ones are real fun. And I don't know. I think it's kind of a crazy statistic, because after that, I feel like I go down and I end up scoring. So I don't know the correlation between that, but it's so much fun. And my teammates love when I do it too.
Defense leading to easy offense.
As long as she doesn't get a foul. Yes,
that's true. You got to be careful, right? Close out, under control, the whole thing, block
the ball, tip it out of the air, right? Those kind of things.
There you go, bobblehead. Yeah, you're nodding. Coach, last segment talked about maybe a different tone in the leadership this summer, specifically from you. Obviously, you mentioned coming back from the injuries. We've gone over that story a million times. You're probably sick of it, but you guys all know what you came here for, and to try to get to that goal, March Madness, NCAA Tournament. Did you have a different level of urgency this summer in trying to lead the group there?
I think so, especially, you know, knowing it's some of these girls' last years, as Maya especially, there's just a different level of focus and want to and will to win this year, and knowing that we don't have a lot of time left, and the group we have right now is super special, and we believe we can do some great things, you know, once we get to the tournament. And so just focusing on that, taking every day seriously and focusing whatever it is, and just going out there and having fun like you've been seeing us do.
Mara, what is the identity of this team? I mean, 16 wins so far this season, chance to get over that 20-win mark and go to the March Madness tournament that JG was just talking about. What are you guys thinking about yourselves internally?
I think just the energy and effort we bring every night, it starts in our preparation, and so we know that we're focused on that going into each game, and just going out with defensive intensity, helping each other on defense, and then that leads to easy offense. And we have so many scorers out there, so just working for the best shot every single possession, and I think from there we'll be just fine. Coach keeps talking about defensive identity and things like that. How long did it take you guys to buy into that defensive mentality that, look, we'll score buckets, but we got to play defense first? I think we knew from the get-go that Coach kind of needed that from us and wanted that with her energy, but I think the more we've matured and understood what that means actually, and the spots we need to be in and things like that, then we're able to really buy in and understand, because we've been able to do it in games and practices.
Can you tell us from your perspective what the last 3 weekend home games have been like, whether it's USC, Wisconsin, or Purdue? The crowds from row 1 where I sit in the upper deck seem like they've been pretty electric. What's it been like for you guys out there?
It adds a lot, especially because of how much we've been on the road. You realize what you miss when you're at home, and so I think the crowds have been great. We've loved it. I've seen so many, I feel like, younger fans in the stands too, from high schools or whatever it is, coming and supporting, and it helps us a ton. I mean, you see the games we've been able to have recently at home. It's big, and it helps our momentum going forward.
All right, you guys got a couple of ranked teams left on your schedule. What's your approach to those ranked teams? How important are those games to make sure you're getting some signature wins before March Madness rolls around?
Just knowing how important every game is. I think we saw towards the end of last season some of the games we lost might have cost us the tournament, and so I think knowing that going forward, how important each one is, and continuing to get better and to build into March and be playing our best basketball. All right, well, Mara Braun, we appreciate your time. Stay healthy the rest of the way. Keep killing it, and we'll be right back with more Gopher Coaches Show with head women's basketball coach Dawn Plitzuweit when we return.
Watching the Gopher Coaches Show.
Welcome back into the Gopher Coaches Show, our final break before we have to let Coach P get out of here. So, should I call you Donnie P? I know that's what the girls are calling you. Should I call you Donnie P?
It's totally up to you, right?
I'll call you Coach P.
Options.
All right, you got a big game coming up this week, taking on Iowa on the road. But Iowa, they're coming off 2 back-to-back losses to USC and UCLA. Can you tell me what type of team you're expecting to see when you head to Iowa?
Well, they're one of the best teams in the entire nation. I think they're ranked in the top 10, and not only just in rankings, but in almost every statistical category. They score it in the paint at a really, really high level, you know, with their post kids and the perimeter kids really attacking, but they really shoot the ball well too. And you're playing in front of at least 14,000 fans. Right. And so it's going to be an incredible, incredible challenge, but also a great opportunity for us to continue to grow and get better.
That's where I wanted to focus a little bit, the environment, because it's probably one of the tougher ones. Right. I would imagine, right? And it has been for the last handful of years since they really got it going. So what are the keys in an environment like that to just keep focused on the main thing?
Well, it's really interesting because as a coach you talk a lot about communication and communication on the court, and that's really, really important obviously in an environment like that. But there's also a segment of time where you just kind of have to know what your teammates are going to do, because no matter if you're trying to communicate and you can't hear each other, you still have to be able to play at a high level and play off of each other. And that's what this group is going to have to do a really good job of. But at the same time, you can't get too high, you can't get too low. You've got to stay really, really composed. And so, again, it's a great opportunity for us to grow and get better. It's a great opportunity to take on a ranked team. And I just asked Mara this question for you guys right now in this pivotal stretch of your season. How much more weight do you put onto these games playing ranked teams, knowing that you probably still need a couple of signature wins to solidify your spot for March Madness? Well, I think for us, when you focus on the process of what you have to do, how are we going to guard inside, how are we going to guard a ball screen, then those things kind of can take care of themselves. And, you know, ultimately when you focus on just the end result, you forget about the process, and then you usually don't end up performing at the level that you need to anyway. So for us, it's really just about what does the process look like, and how do we take advantage of different situations, how do we take care of the basketball, how do we handle it, all those kind of things.
And along those lines a little bit, we talk about the ranked teams, but there's a lot of teams that are really good, you included, not in the rankings, right? So, like, you can't worry about the number on any given night in the Big Ten, because once you start doing that, bad things happen.
Well, that's exactly right. I think ultimately for us, continue to learn, continue to grow, continue to develop. And that's really what this group has done a pretty good job of throughout the course of this season. You know, and now when you face new challenges, new teams that are really good at something that's a little bit different than maybe what you faced, you have an opportunity to really focus on that aspect of your game and grow.
We just showed the highlights of that come from behind loss that you guys had against Maryland at home. What has your team learned since that game, or what is the biggest change you think you've seen in your group since that loss at home?
Well, ultimately, you can't defer, you know, and I think when that happened, we were trying to get it to someone else to make something happen rather than attack. And I think that's what this team has done a much better job of. And we talk about different players stepping up at different times. You can't defer when it's your time, when it's that moment, whatever that looks like. And that doesn't mean that it has to be the end of the game at any point in time during the game.
How do you keep your ladies relaxed at this time of the season? I mean, there's so much going on. March Madness, Big Ten tournament, just trying to finish the season playing well and do something the University of Minnesota hasn't done in a while. How do you keep them, I guess, just in their feet set in stone right now?
Right. I think it's one of our keys to our team overall is to enjoy the precious present, to be in the here and now. And this group has a lot of fun being in the here and now together. So, you know, most of the time I think it's laughing at their coaches, I think, you know, making fun of us or for someone, but they have fun doing that, and that's really important. And so I think it's really, really valuable for them to just really be in the here and now and be where their feet are at and keep getting better.
In our final 30 seconds or so, we've mentioned the atmosphere of Williams Arena a lot. It's crazy. I think there's only 3 home games left. You know, it's already February, and I always say, don't let the season pass you by without getting to Williams Arena. So what would you say to people that are watching tonight that maybe haven't been out, have missed the last 3 weekend games, feel bad for you, to come out to the barn?
Well, the bottom line is it's different in person. It's an experience. You can watch it on TV or the Big Ten Network or whatever the case is. You can stream it, but the reality is when you have that experience, it's totally different. So I'd come out and watch.
Coach P said come out and watch. You heard her loud and clear. Big games on the road this week, but they will return next week, so make sure you're there. Thank you for watching the Gopher Coaches Show with Coach Plitzuweit. I'm Ahmad Hicks, and for Justin Gaard, we'll see you all next week.